Atul's Wonderful Christmas by Henley Santa. Illustrated by Mudassir Abid, with an introduction by Michael Rosen. As far back as Atul could remember, he'd always wanted a dog. He asked his mum every year and she always said, "We'll see." At last Mum said, "Santa will bring you a dog this Christmas." Just before Christmas came around, there was a great flood and the river burst its banks. The dog that Santa was going to give Atul was washed away in the flood. Santa was not able to find another dog for Atul anywhere. Santa said to Atul's mum, "All I have on my sleigh to give Atul is this drumstick. I will load it with Christmas magic and we will see what happens. I must give him a present because he is such a good and kind boy. As soon as I finish my last few deliveries, I will look for his missing dog." Atul was sad at first, but he made the best of it and treated the stick as if it was a dog. "Look, Mum, I trained my stick to do tricks. He can do stay, lie down, play dead, roll over, and fetch." Mum laughed and called, "Atul, take your stick and play outside." Atul tied a bit of string round his stick and took it for a walk. Across the river he met the village baker. She was surrounded by black smoke, coughing and crying. "What's wrong?" "The river flooded and all my kindling is wet. I can't light my fire to bake my bread." "I have my stick. It is dry and will burn well. You can break it up to start your fire." Atul waited with the baker as she broke the stick and lit her fire. She started to bake the bread. She was very grateful and gave Atul some flat bread called roti, all spread with butter. And Atul thought, "What a strange Christmas. I wanted a dog, but I got a stick that turned into some bread." Atul walked along. He heard a baby crying. The baby sounded very upset. He saw the village potter holding her baby, rocking him back and forth. Atul said, "What's wrong with the baby?" "Oh, my baby is really hungry, but the baker isn't baking because of the flood, so we have no fresh bread for him." Atul said, "I have this fresh warm bread. You can have it for the baby." The potter gave some of the roti to the baby, and the baby stopped crying at last and fell asleep. "Oh, thank you," said the grateful potter. "Here, Atul, have one of my big wash pots." Atul said thank you and walked on. He thought, "What a strange Christmas. I wanted a dog, but I got a stick that turned into some bread that turned into a pot." Just then Atul heard someone shouting. He crossed back over the river and saw the village laundryman shouting and kicking a broken washpot. Atul said, "What's wrong?" The laundryman said, "I left my washpot near the river last night. The flood has smashed it on the rocks and broken it. I can't do the laundry." Atul said, "I have this big washpot. You can have it." The laundryman said that would be marvellous and thanked Atul. Then he said, "Atul, I have this coat that nobody has collected. You must have it." He gave Atul a warm coat. Atul thought to himself, "What a strange Christmas. I wanted a dog, but I got a stick that turned into some bread that turned into a pot that turned into a coat." Atul walked on further, and he saw an old man who was standing in wet underwear. The rest of his clothes were spread out on a bush to dry. He was shivering and quivering and sneezing. "What happened?" asked Atul. The man said, "I jumped into the river to rescue this little dog. He was caught on a tree branch in the water. My clothes are soaked through and I'm freezing." Atul said, "I have this lovely coat. You can have it to get warm." The man wrapped the coat around himself and gradually warmed up and stopped shivering. The man said, "Thank you, Atul. Will you take this dog I rescued and give him a good home?" Atul said, "Yes, please. I always wanted a dog." Atul went straight home with his dog, ready to surprise Mum. He thought to himself, "What a strange and wonderful Christmas. I wanted a dog, but I got a stick that turned into some bread, that turned into a pot, that turned into a coat, that turned into my very own dog. I will teach my dog good tricks." The end.